So today I wanted to do a video a little bit differently. I wanted to talk about my jungle presence, who I played, why I played them, and why they were my favorite champions. If you haven't noticed, I play a whole lot of Volibear. Day one, I saw Volibear. He was free to play. I went in to play him, and I sucked pretty bad. Volibear seems to be a champion where he's almost impossible to kill when built correctly. I remember when I was level 5 building 5 Giants belts back in Season 3, just because the more health that Volibear had, the more he would heal back, the more his bite would do. And it was stupid looking back on it, but Volibear really helped me fall in love with the game. And he's why I continued to play for so many years. And then he's another reason when he got back in the meta, he's the reason I started this channel, really. So my main jungles are Volibear, Udyr, Elise, Amumu, Gragas. I do some Rammus. I can do Shaco, although I've just barely picked him up. I've done pretty well so far with him. But these are all champions that have different aspects in some ways. You've got Volibear, who's very much a tanky bruiser. Same with Udyr, Amumu, Gragas, Rammus. They're bruisers, they're tanky, they do damage, but they don't necessarily carry games. Volibear can in many ways, with his bite being such a big execute. You'll notice sometimes in ganks where if you see my other videos, it's the laners executing them versus when I play Volibear, it's me executing them. And in a lot of ways and for a lot of reasons, that's because maybe the laners aren't close, and I've saved my bite for the last second just so that I could execute them because I know how much damage it does. But because Volibear is my main, I know that if I get the kills, I can carry more. With Udyr, who another champion I've just fallen in love with, he was so easy. He had so many different aspects of playing him. You can go AD Tiger stance, attack speed. You can go AP with Phoenix stance, the tank, and then with Phoenix stance, if you have a ability power, then it helps out with Turtle stance and gives you more life steal. And with the stun being every couple seconds, and you can stun up to 5 people just by hitting them. Problem with that I've encountered with Udyr very recently, and probably the reason I don't have many videos with him, is because I started getting into a habit where I thought I was unstoppable, and instead of taking a gank and saying, okay, yeah, I got his flash, I got his summoner, I got him to back off, it's, okay, now I'm going to flash under turret bear stance him and hope I get the kill, and backfired a lot. With Elise, for a while, I did really well with Elise. I started playing her, I mean, I want to say last year, and for a little while, I was hitting a lot of skill shots. I mean, first time Elise in ARAM, I got a pentakill. I, I mean, it was ARAM pop, really, but I mean, she was easy for me to understand in the beginning, and I would hit a lot of her skill shots, and I would see the gank paths, and her spiderlings would tank, and I was doing very well, just basically by dumb luck. And this was another champion where I decided that it would be great if I used her in ranked because she was a popular meta pick. And even now, I mean, she was played in LCS just a couple of days ago. She's not as popular as much anymore, but she's still there. She's a very strong pick. She has a lot of execution. Her ganks are very potent if you land the skill shot, if you land the cocoon, and then jump on them with spider form. You can do a lot of damage really fast, and with the help of your laners, it's a guaranteed kill. And you can build her with Cinderhulk and Runic Echoes, depending on what you want for a team comp. Similar with Udyr. Udyr, you can go Blood Razor, used to be Devourer, you can go Runic Echoes, you can go Cinderhulk. He's multifaceted. Elise is similar, because she can be that tanky presence, but she really excels at that executioner style assassin. So you can play her both ways. She's definitely a better assassin, but if you want to excel in the team fight late game, which is, I believe is where Elise falls off, she is definitely a 1v1 kind of champ. The late game she falls off. You can go for that tankier build. I'm not talking just Rylai's and Liandry's. I'm talking if you get. I've heard people say Deadman's, but I don't. I think Sunfire is better than Deadman's in almost every way because of once you go into Spiderling form, there's a whole lot of damage coming out of you, and there's that AOE damage. We go to Amumu. Amumu is one of those simple junglers to play. Some people start E. I start W. Personal preference. I know my friend who started at E had trouble clearing the jungle and getting a full clear, and I have trouble with that now too. Starting W. I think it has to do with the jungle changes a little bit and how that whole scene has changed in the past couple patches, past season really. Um, but you can go Cinder Hulk on Amumu for that AoE damage, which is what he excels at. He excels at being in the middle of a team fight, CCing people, and then just staying there, really. He's getting the damage. He doesn't necessarily. And he's peeling. He's very good at that. But once he's in, he's in. There's not really much escape. So you got to watch when you go in, and you got to make good picks. And there's a lot of strategy that goes involved. He's also very easily counter jungled. I played in a Mumu game where Volibear stole my red and stole my blue and stole my red and stole my blue again, and then stole my entire bot side jungle. And I couldn't do much against it because, okay, Volibear's passive will come up. Volibear still has passive. I don't know whether he does or not. And especially and with my AoE and the fact that my sustain in jungle isn't really great until I get that Hunter's Potion and get up into higher levels, I struggled. I did come back to win that game, however, because of my team. When it came to the team fight, yes, Volibear was able to pretty much destroy any chances I had at doing really good ganks. I was only able to farm, and then even then my farm was taken from me. So I had trouble, but in the late game when Mumu really excels, he takes your magic resist. He's got that AoE damage percent health. He's got that big ult that just wrecks a team if placed properly. And I was able to position in a way that really helped my team get lay damage down on the big carry targets. And then we were able to get Volibear, who had been uh, limited in his mobility and not able to flip a target because of my ult. I've got Gragas there. Gragas I picked up within the last few months. I really like his kit. I really like his mobility. That body slam every 8 seconds. 12 at level 1, but if you hit a target, it's a body slam every 8 seconds. Stun, it's a knock-up. It's good with Yasuo. When you gank mid or top, you can just instantly stun. And then you've got a pretty well guaranteed kill. He can get over a lot of walls. He has a lot of escape. That's also why when Gragas was going mid, it was really hard to gank him. I was jungling and I would go for Gragas and it's like, oh, he just body slammed away. Cost him 50 mana. Now he's back in lane wrecking again. It was just so easy. It's easy for him to escape many situations that you could get stuck in if you're not positioned correctly. Or if you didn't have vision. Or if you went for something and then it didn't really work out, you can get out. It's very important that you hit the body slam. Because once you hit the body slam, that's the crux of it. Because before you if you hit the Q, yeah, they're slowed. And most people can just get out and walk away. Once you hit the body slam, that's where the lockdown potential is. And it's not even so much that you're locking, the stun lasts forever, the knockup lasts forever. It's just that now that you're on them, you're slowing them, you're slowing them. He's also one of the only junglers that I get tracker smite on. I know it happens with, I know a lot of people do it with Rammus as well, because Rammus doesn't really need to smite champions. I get tracker's knife on Gragas because it is really just the greatest team item for a jungler. I mean, Blood Razors, yes, Blood Razors in the enchantment. You get Chilling Smite, okay, you've slowed him, but you can usually catch anyone with Gragas because of his body slam. You get Challenging Smite, and well, he doesn't really have attack speed, builds kind of tanky and AP if you go Runic Echoes, so it doesn't really work there. So that's why I go with Tracker's Knife. It gives me a whole lot of map presence and awareness that I won't go Tracker's Knife on other champions because I feel like Gragas' gank potential is the largest because of the body slam, because of his ult, because of how you can make the other team position themselves and force them into a bad position. While with Volibear, Udyr, and Amumu, and Elise, you have to go with the position that they've got and then make the best of that. Shaco, he's drastically different from what I do otherwise. With Shaco, it's very much get blue buff, get red buff, go gank. Counter jungle, counter jungle, counter jungle, counter jungle. Because he's very mana hungry, I would say, in my experience, if you want to farm, you really have to go with the get the kills, get the assists, gank mentality. And that was sort of a challenge for me to overcome and still is largely because he was just so different. He's squishy, but he has a flash in his deceive so he can get out of most situations. But if you use your flash to initiate, then you're pretty much dead. But then you can also clone out of it, and you really have to um, know and get into the mind of your opponent and just say, "Hey, I'm the Shaco. I'm the Shaco. It's a Shaq clone that's gonna kill you. I'm the Shiv clone, and I play God tier." Because if you don't play God tier with Shaco, like you know what you're doing, you are going to get wrecked. So I did a lot of research on people that played Shaco, and I have a friend who mained Shaco for a long time, and I took advice from him and hints from him, and I saw and watched some of the games that he was playing in order to learn Shaco. And I wouldn't say by any means I'm a good Shaco. I've had very good games with Shaco where I did what I needed to do and I was able to execute properly. And I've had very bad games with Shaco where I threw into old habits and I just farmed as if I was getting like Devourer, which is something Shaco doesn't get. With Rammus, I don't play him very often because he's limited. And I say he's limited because, yes, you can chase forever with your Q, but if you hit a minion or a minion blocks, okay, you've got a knocked up on a minion and you can't really finish off the gank. Which is why when you're ganking lanes, all the enemy laner has to do is walk into minions and then use their abilities to get out. Because once your Q's gone, you're very limited in what you can do. Against an AD comp, I recommend it 10 times out of 10 if it's an all AD comp. I have seen Aramis in a 1v5 win because an all AD comp and all he had to do was build armor. It was ridiculous. Aramis is very OP if he's up against an all melee comp. I mean, an all AD comp. If there's some magic burst and he doesn't build accordingly, he has. I've seen him have very little impact. Down here I've got Maokai. I don't play Maokai very much, although in a lot of ways he's very similar to Gragas. I would say if you think about his abilities, the barrel, the saplings, the damage reduction, the jump snare, it locks him down. You've got the knock up. In a lot of ways, I can see how they're similar and yet different. If you build a whole lot of armor and magic resist on Maokai, if you've got 200 armor and 200 magic resist, and you ult, it's like you have a plus 150 armor and magic resist on both sides. It's ridiculously tanky. But the damage trade-off that I've seen from Gragas and Maokai, I feel like Gragas is the better pick. Maokai definitely has his place, um, but it requires a very team oriented style. You have to know your teammates, you have to know how they're playing, you have to know who they're playing, you have to know their habits. And while I do duo queue and trio queue a lot, I don't often have the full 5 man, or Maokai could be the most efficient. And with these junglers that I play, it's very much I put a high priority on Dragon. If I miss a drag, I beat myself up over it. Because dragons are what scale the game, in my opinion. If you have 3 Cloud Drakes, and I know everybody this is on Cloud Drake because it's the worst Drake. Well, if you have 3 Cloud Drakes, then you are out rotating them by far. Get out of situations, you can disengage, you can re-engage, you can out rotate them easily. If you have 3 of any other Drake, you can see the effects. 3 Ocean Drakes on Volibear, he's not going to die. I don't care what you do. 3 Fire Drakes on Udyr Tiger Stance, you just got burned to hell with his damage over time. Mountain Drakes with a Mumu, oh, you are taking objectives. You are taking them quickly, and especially with a Mumu who's not really fast at taking objectives, even with his AoE, because you don't necessarily build AP. He just scales because of his percent damage. Dragons are, in my opinion, what you need to go for. I also put a high priority on the Rift Herald. I know it's, but I mean, that's a 20-minute buff for your top laner. That is the difference between winning and losing lane if it's a pretty even matchup. Like, if your top laner is 0-2 and they get Rift Herald, stacks are, it's practically even. Because Rift Herald gives them that static Shiv type buff. And it gives them that presence in lane that they didn't have before naturally. If they were uncomfortable on the champ, if they were new to the champ, if they were just being tilted, it gives them a oomph. And in the game of League of Legends, you always want that extra advantage. You always want that extra objective. It's all about that extra tower. Because if you have the side lane towers down, you're going to get that mid tower. Because you have the presence and the ability to rotate and gank and move and counter jungle very easily. So I place high. If you want to know what my number one thing is, it's dragons, it's Rift Herald. If I don't get every single dragon in a game and the Rift Herald, I feel like I messed up and I feel like I lost the game for my team. Second priority is keeping a balance between what you're doing in the jungle camps and what you're ganking. So in many of my games, especially with Volibear, Udyr, Amumu, I will smite Scuttle so that I get that health and mana back. Which I know it sounds really weird because Udyr has enough sustain in the world to be fine. And Volibear has his passive. But if I'm 3/4 health going in for that level 3 mid gank after I've cleared blue, no, I don't have red buff. I don't have that damage over time. But because I can stay in that fight longer, I feel like it really helps in the ganks and almost always gets a summoner, if not a kill. So you've got to keep that balance. As Volibear, you need to get early ganks so that you can help your team snowball. And I would recommend, as always, giving the gold and the kills to the laner, to the AD carry, to the mid lane, to the top laner. Because if they snowball and have that extra dagger, that extra item, just that one part of that one item, they're going to beat their lane opponent if they play properly. Because in a lot of games, it's not so much that that your lane opponent is so much better; it's that you made a mistake. So while I have to get my buffs and keep up on CS and keep up on levels with the other jungler, it's also very important to put your laners ahead. With Volibear, I've come into the unfortunate strategy of sometimes taking kills. And I can see the difference in my games. If I do really well, okay, no harm, no foul, right? If I carry the game, as long as the game gets carried. But if I take the kill and then I get counter jungled, if I take the kill and then I'm not in the right position or I'm split pushing, it hurts my team because they don't have the extra gold, the level on the enemy. So you've got to make sure that you're keeping up with your jungle camps, you're clearing them quickly and efficiently, you're backing when you need to so that you can get the items you need to clear the jungle quicker. And you've got to make sure that your presence in lane. When Udyr was Gaudier a couple patches ago, it was very simple for me. It's take Gromp, blue buff, Raptors, Scuttle, go bot lane, gank. Go mid lane, gank. Okay, then I'm going for Scuttle again, top lane, get red, get Raptors, get Krugs, and then go top lane, gank. It was a very quick, very easy path because of his sustain, because of his power. It was fluid for me. There have been some changes to jungle and nerfs on Udyr where that doesn't necessarily work out anymore. But you've got to make sure that you're clearing the waves at the same way that your enemy jungler is, or faster. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned about some of my stylistic choices and why I play what I play. I truly do just love this game. It means a lot to me that Riot has put in so much time and effort into making things work and making things better consistently. I know a lot of the community doesn't necessarily agree with some of the stuff they do, but Riot has committed themselves to making a great game, making it free and easy to play, and I feel like they've accomplished that goal very well. So shout out to them. Thank you for watching this video.